The train station hummed with ordinary life until K-9 Officer Diesel froze mid-step. His handler saw nothing unusual. But Diesel saw her, a silent child making a hand gesture no 5-year-old should know. In one explosive lunge, protocol shattered. And a rescue bee, but her wrist, with a grip too tight for comfort. He scanned the exits every 7 seconds. Exactly 7. Diesel noticed. Humans missed it. Dogs never do. The air carried 1,000 scents. Perfume, exhaust, fresh bread from a kiosk. But beneath it all, something else, fierce sweat, sharp and metallic. Diesel's nostrils flared. His ears twitched forward. Not danger yet, but the ghost of it. The kind of quiet that comes before a storm. Officer Lena moved through the crowd with practiced ease, her fingers resting lightly on Diesel's harness. Belgium Malinois. For years on the force. 3 lives saved. His ears twitched toward scents humans couldn't name. Fierce sweat, adrenaline, the ghost of cigarette smoke clinging to wool. Lena trusted his silence more than her own instincts. Today felt routine. Boring even. She checked her watch. 2 hours until shift end. Diesel's muscles tensed beneath her palm. Not a flinch. A lock. Every fiber in him went still. She followed his gaze. Saw nothing. Just a girl. Just a man. Just another family traveling. But Diesel knew better. His tail lowered, not in submission, but in focus. The kind of focus that precedes a storm. Lena had seen this posture only twice before. Once before locating a hidden weapon. Once before stopping a fleeing suspect. This was different. Softer. More urgent. Diesel wasn't sensing a threat. He was recognizing a plea. The girl stumbled. A small thing. A toe catching on tile. She righted herself quickly, but in that half-second of imbalance, her free hand lifted. Thumb tucked inward. Fingers splayed downward. A silent curl of the wrist. The universal distress signal. Taught in schools. Practiced in shadows. Used only when speaking meant danger. Diesel's entire body ignited. A low whine escaped his throat, barely audible, but Lena heard it like a gunshot. She tightened her grip on the leash. Easy, boy. He didn't ease. He pulled. Not wildly. Not aggressively. With the precision of a soldier executing a mission. The man's head snapped toward them. His eyes narrowed. He yanked the girl closer, fingers digging into her sleeve. She didn't cry. Didn't flinch. Just met Diesel's gaze with heartbreaking calm. As if she'd been waiting for him. As if she knew he would understand the language of silence. Lena's blood ran cold. She'd seen that sign before, in trafficking briefings, in missing children alerts. Never from a child this young. Never with such quiet certainty. What's your name, sweetheart? Lena asked softly. The girl's lips parted. No sound came out. The man cut in. She's shy. We're catching a train. But Diesel barked once, sharp, tactical, unmistakable. A command only he could give. Officers nearby turned. The station held its breath. The man's posture shifted instantly, shoulders tensing, weight shifting toward the nearest exit. He was calculating escape routes. Diesel saw it too. He planted himself between the man and the girl, a living wall of muscle and instinct. The girl's eyes widened, not with fear of the dog, but with recognition. She took a tiny step forward. Her finger tapped against her thigh. Once, twice, 3 times. Morse code. HELP. Diesel mirrored her rhythm, tapping his paw gently against the tile. A conversation unfolding in silence. Chaos erupted in slow motion. Diesel lunged forward, snapping the tension in Lena's arm. Passers-by gasped, stumbling back. The man shoved the girl behind him, his body a shield, but not to protect her. To hide her. Stay back, he barked, voice sharp with panic disguised as authority. Lena stepped between them, hands raised. Sir, my dog isn't threatening you. But Diesel wasn't looking at the man. His eyes stayed locked on the girl. She lifted her hand again. Same gesture. More urgent this time. Her small fingers trembled, but the signal remained precise. Deliberate. Lena's throat tightened. This wasn't random fear. This was training. This was a child who'd prepared for this moment. The man lunged for her arm. Diesel moved faster. Not with teeth. With presence. Blocking. Guarding. The girl finally spoke, voice barely a whisper. He said my mommy won't notice I'm gone. The words hung in the air like shattered glass. Lena's radio crackled. Backup arriving. But the man was already moving, shoving a tourist aside, creating a path toward the subway stairs. Diesel didn't chase him. He stayed with the girl. Because heroes know, the victim matters more than the villain. Cornered by converging officers, the man snarled, "She's mine. Her mother gave her to me." The girl shook her head violently, tears finally spilling. "Mommy's in heaven," she whispered. "She's been there 3 years." The truth unfolded like a wound. The man wasn't her father. He was a predator who'd studied her mother's obituary, learned her routines, waited for the perfect moment to steal what grief had left unprotected. The girl had learned the distress signal from a school assembly after her mother's funeral. "I practiced it every night," she admitted, voice breaking. "In case someone came for me too." Diesel rested his muzzle on her knee. Not as a K-9 unit. As a witness. As a promise. The man struggled against cuffs, screaming about rights and custody. But his eyes stayed fixed on the girl, hungry, possessive, broken. Lena knelt beside her. "You're safe now." The girl looked at Diesel. "He heard me," she whispered. When no one else could, the man lunged for a fire extinguisher. Diesel intercepted, not with teeth, but with body-blocking precision trained for child protection scenarios. Officers tackled the suspect. As cuffs clicked shut, the girl did something unexpected. She walked to Diesel, placed both small hands on his muzzle, and whispered, "You heard me." He licked her palm once, gentle, deliberate. The station erupted in quiet applause. Lena watched, throat tight. He didn't save her because he was trained to. He saved her because he listened. Final image. The girl's fingers uncurling for the first time all day, no longer signaling distress, but resting peacefully on Diesel's fur. No sirens, no dramatic music, just the soft sound of child breathing freely for the first time in years, and the steady rhythm of a dog's heartbeat beneath her hands, proof that someone had been listening all along. Weeks later, Lena visited the girl's new foster home. Diesel trotted beside her, his gait steady, his eyes soft. The girl sat on the porch steps, knees drawn to her chest. She didn't run to him, didn't speak, just opened her arms. Diesel walked into them without hesitation, resting his head against her shoulder. She wrapped her arms around his neck, fingers threading through his fur. No words passed between them. None were needed. Some bonds form in silence. Some heroes wear harnesses instead of capes. And some rescues begin not with a shout, but with a signal, a tiny hand moving in the quiet, trusting that somewhere, someone is listening. Diesel had listened. He'd understood the language beneath the silence. And in that understanding, a little girl found her voice again. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and violet. On the porch steps, child and dog sat together, shoulder to shoulder, breathing in sync, watching the world go by. Safe. Seen. Finally home. The girl's fingers traced patterns along Diesel's fur, slow and deliberate, no longer signaling danger, but spelling out a different message entirely. Peace. Trust. Gratitude. Diesel sighed contentedly, his warm weight pressing gently against her side. He had spent years trained to detect threats, to locate hidden dangers, to protect the public from unseen harm. But in that moment, he wasn't a police dog. He was simply a friend who had heard a whisper when the world was too loud to listen. And that, Lena realized as she watched them from the garden gate, was the most powerful kind of heroism. Not the kind that chases villains, but the kind that recognizes a silent cry and answers without hesitation. The girl finally spoke, her voice clear and steady for the first time. "I used to practice the signal in my room at night," she said softly, not looking at Lena, but at Diesel. "After Mommy died, I was scared someone would come for me. My teacher showed us the hand sign, said it could save our lives if we were ever too scared to speak." She paused, fingers tightening gently around Diesel's ear. "I never thought I'd have to use it, and I never thought a dog would understand." Diesel lifted his head slightly, nudging her chin with his nose. A gesture so gentle it made Lena's eyes sting. The girl smiled, a real smile, unburdened and bright. He didn't just see my hand, she whispered. He saw me. Lena knelt beside them, her voice barely above a whisper. Some beings understand languages words can't carry. Diesel speaks the language of fear, of hope, of silent courage. The girl nodded slowly, as if she'd known this truth all along. She placed her palm flat against Diesel's chest, feeling the steady rhythm beneath his fur. His heart sounds like home, she said. And in that simple sentence, everything was said. The trauma of that day at the station, the terror of a stranger's grip, the courage it took to make a silent signal in a crowded place, the miracle of a dog who understood what no human had noticed. All of it distilled into 3 words. His heart sounds like home. Diesel rested his chin on her knee, eyes half closed in contentment. The setting sun cast long shadows across the porch, wrapping them in golden light. Somewhere in the distance, a train whistle echoed, the same sound that had filled the station on the day everything changed. But here, now, the sound carried no fear. Only the promise of journeys taken safely, of destinations reached without harm. The girl leaned her head against Diesel's shoulder, her breathing slow and even. For the first time since her mother's passing, she wasn't waiting for danger. She was simply being present, protected, understood. Lena rose quietly, giving them space. Some moments aren't meant to be witnessed. They're meant to be lived. And this moment belonged to them alone. A child who had learned to speak without words, and a dog who had learned to listen beyond sound. As she walked back to her car, Lena glanced once more at the porch. The girl had fallen asleep against Diesel's side, one small hand still resting on his fur. Diesel hadn't moved. He wouldn't. Not until she woke. Not until she was ready. Heroes don't always wear badges. Sometimes they wear harnesses. Sometimes they understand the most important messages are the ones never spoken aloud. And sometimes, in the quiet space between a child's silent signal and a dog's understanding heart, everything truly does change in an instant.